What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with an unboxing video. I'm a little bit under the weather, so you'll have to bear with me with my stuffy nose and scratchy throat. But I received back from Collector Archive Services 9 items, and they turned out great, and I wanted to show them off on the channel. Some vintage items, a couple loose graded figures, as well as some vintage collection that I think you will enjoy seeing. Before I dig in any further, I got a couple of things to cover. First, thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys allow me to make more and better videos. I really appreciate the channel support. And I just added a new Patreon supporter. That is Jeremy M. Jeremy, thank you so much for all the kind words in our private chat. And I really appreciate you becoming a Patreon team member. It really helps out the channel a lot. Let's go ahead and dig right in to the first one. The first one is a figure that I picked up from Chris W. over at Rogue 5 Toys on Facebook. He always has fantastic figures. I actually picked out 2 figures from this batch from Chris, and I'll put a link to the Facebook group page in the description for this video. If you are not a member of Rogue 5 Toys, you're missing out on a lot of good deals. And Chris is a good friend of mine. He's coming to town at the end of the month. I'm looking forward to seeing him in person. He's got a couple of items for me that I've picked up over the last couple of months from him. And I said, don't bother shipping them. Just give them to me when you come. So here is the Lobot that I picked up from him. And as you guys can see, I've got 2 Lobots that I've shown on the channel in the past. These are pre-production Lobots. One is a first shot head pull, clear plastic. That's graded 85 by AFA. So that's like a sample head, engineering sample type head. And then this is a first shot torso pull. So the rest of this figure, the head and the limbs are production, but the torso piece itself is a factory sample type thing. So those are the 2 of my collection. And then I've got this one that I just picked up from Chris, and it graded 85. This is a 2-line LFL Hong Kong Lobot, graded 85 by CAS. So just a standard Lobot, but in great shape. And you can see the date stamps there on the back of the leg. And then he comes with that Bespin blaster. These 2 obviously are able to be graded without the blaster because they are pre-production prototype type, first shot type pieces. Next up, I have another addition to my loose graded Yoda collection. So over here on the left-hand side are my Yoda bootlegs. We've got a 1990 static bootleg. We have a 1980s bootleg with the cane, the snake, and the belt. So this is complete with the robe. It's got a little hole on the top because kids in Mexico during the 1980s, they wore this on the neck. So it's kind of like a necklace hanger piece. So that's from the 80s. This is like late 80s or early 90s semi-articulated Yoda with pink accessories. And then we've got my Polish bootleg deluxe version of Yoda from about 1985 that's graded 90 by CAS. So very, very rare one there. And then my licensed ones here are just the standard orange snake cherry eyes. We've got a Regresso Lily Letty made in Mexico Yoda. That's UKG 85. This is AFA 85. And then here's my latest edition. This is one I also picked up from Chris on Rogue 5 Toys. And this is a no COO. Let's see how it's labeled here. We got no COO, 1-line LFL, light green head with black eyes with the brown snake. So this is my first brown snake. Well, I'm sorry, I take that back. This is a Lily Letty brown snake. But you can see how much different the color is for the head, especially. But this is my first non-Letty with the brown snake. There is also a Hong Kong with the brown snake. I'm see if I can get this to focus better. There we go. There is also a Hong Kong with the brown snake. So that's one I'm gonna try and pick up here soon. Very dark cane. Now, a lot of people have asked about this. French Connection, Matthew B. over on Instagram, he's like, that's labeled kind of weird. Well, this is actually labeled just the way AFA labels it. The AFA labels this one exactly the same way. No COO, light green. And it graded 85, as I said. But I asked Dustin B., who's a good buddy of mine, channel subscriber. He's a Yoda expert and has one of the finest Yoda collections I've ever seen, especially with his bootlegs. And I said, Dustin, fill me in on this. What exactly is this figure? And he said that these would occasionally show up on 65 and 77 back US cards. And they would also show up occasionally on Palatoy Tri-Logos, but he said most of the Tri-Logos had Hong Kong figures. And then he said these also, this figure, this No COO Yoda, would also show up on Power of the Force 92 back cards, which is, that's a pretty expensive card back. You're talking $5,000 to $8,000 minimum for one of those. It could even approach 5 figures in really high grade condition. So anyway, this is a nice No COO. This is not a Meccano or anything like that. It's just a No COO, but very cool. I couldn't tell you what factory it's in. Maybe Cater, I don't know. But anyway, a great figure, and kind of a weird one, because I thought, when I set it into CAS, I thought it was a Hong Kong, but it's not a Hong Kong. It's a No COO, and it's a beautiful condition figure, and it graded 85. So let's dig in now to some of the awesome vintage collection that I got back. Next up, we've got the vintage collection that are returned from grading. Some of these I'm keeping in the poly bag because I've sold them, but I wanted to at least show them to you on the channel. The first one is the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm Tusken Raider, and this is the Walmart exclusive. Really nice figure. I love that card back, obviously. I just got too many vintage collections, so I had to pare down which ones I'm keeping versus which ones I'm moving on to other collectors, but I thought we'd at least document them on the channel. Beautiful figure. Love that card back. And this one graded 85 plus. So this is the Walmart exclusive VC 199 Tusken Raider 85, 90, 95, 85 plus. Now, given this is a Walmart exclusive, and we all talk about at length and probably too much about how poor the packing is and how difficult it is to get clean examples, but I think 85 plus is a great score for this. I picked this up not from Walmart, but from Bounty Hunters Guild on eBay, and I'll put a link to his store in the video description. But Josh runs Bounty Hunters Guild, and he gets a lot of this stuff and deals with a lot of the returns for the damaged items, and he allows me to pay a slight premium and not have to deal with that. So I'm more than happy to pay that slight premium. So thank you again, Josh, for that. Another exclusive is this one, the Brock Starsher. This was exclusive to the Skiff Guard 3-pack. And a great figure. I didn't really want to sell this, but I just, in the interest of keeping my collection room to a reasonable kind of level, I'm going to move this on to a collector who really enjoys these anything Jabba related, henchmen, things like that. And he's got kind of a focus for those. So more than happy to pass that on to him. And this is VC 154, Return of the Jedi, Brock Starsher. This graded 85, 90, 95 for an overall 85 plus. So really nice example. And I love that card back. It looks great. And then next, I do have two of these. One of these I'm keeping, one of them I'm keeping in the poly bag. So let me pull that one out now so you can take a look at it. But this is the awesome Jedi Fallen Order Electro Staff Purge Trooper. This is one of the Gaming Greats releases. Look how amazing that guy looks inside the package. Let me show you this one. This one is the Entertainment Earth exclusive. It's labeled Entertainment Earth exclusive Electro Staff Purge Trooper. It graded 95, 90, 95. Unbelievable. 97.1. More on that in a little while. But anyway, this one graded 95. Beautiful example. And I got a buddy who wants this one, so I'm passing this on to him. And I hope you enjoy it. Really nice example. Now here's the one I'm keeping. And let's take a look at that score. 97.2. So this one is 0.1 better than my buddy's. And I'm always going to hold that over his head for the rest of time. But let me just zoom in on this so we can really take a closer look at this awesome card back. Look how beautiful that card back is. I love the colors, the pink of the name pill along with the pink of the shock pieces to the staff, as well as behind the bubble there, behind the blister. An amazing figure with the detail on the sculpt. Really, really like these Gaming Greats, partially because I'm a gamer, but anyway, this is, or I used to be anyway, Electro Staff Purge Trooper, and then I've got the rest of these in grading. I just have not, it was from a different batch, so these will not be coming back for a little while, but this is VC 195. One thing I did forget is that I always get asked, what the turnaround time is for these, and they have improved a little bit. CAS, Collector Archive Services, had been running at about 7 to 7.5 months on my last batch, which was a while ago. These were sent in early October. They were checked into Collector Archive Services inventory queue or system on October 21st, and they returned to me about the April 15th. So all in, it's about 6 months. So they've cut about a month off of their turnaround times so far. So that's encouraging, but it's still running 6 months and way too long. So as it relates to the the turnaround time experiment, these were not part of that. These were delivered and sent in about 2 months prior to the great turnaround time experiment that I'm running between AFA and CAS. But they have cut, about a month off from their previous turnaround times. So that's encouraging, and I hope that trend continues. Now let's finish off this video with 3 absolute belters that are all Canadian TVC. Next up, we have a gift. This was a Patreon gift from Keith Guppy over in the UK. Keith, as you guys have seen in my recent market update videos for the vintage collection, Keith has a gigantic collection of modern and everything else Star Wars related, all kinds of different lines. He's got one of the largest collections in the UK, and it's just incredible. And he sent this to me many months ago as a gift, and this is a Canadian vintage collection Revenge of the Sith Shock Trooper. It is absolutely gorgeous and a very generous gift from Keith. And I'm going to repay the favor. I've got an Ahsoka, the new Mandalore, Ahsoka that came out about spring of last year. I've got one of those at AFA for Keith. So Keith, I'm going to be returning the favor and sending you one as a gift soon, hopefully, if AFA gets done with it. But look how beautiful this Shock Trooper is. And as you can see, if you guys are familiar with Canadian cardbacks with that Idad up there in the corner, you know that this is the Canadian version. And so this has got the multi-language on here, the French, and you can see here Hasbro Canada. So this is the Canadian Shock Trooper, and it graded very high. This is VC 110 from 2012 Shock Trooper, and this graded 90, 90, 95 for an overall 90 plus. So Keith, thank you again so much for this insanely generous gift. I really appreciate it. I've got kind of a mini run going of Canadian cardbacks, and it's not like a big run, but it's a nice little collection so far. So I've got a Canadian Ahsoka original issue. I've got a Canadian Darth Malgus, I believe, and then I've got the Shock Trooper, and then I've got this one. This is a beautiful unpunched Rebel Soldier Echo Base battle gear, and look how incredible that name pill is. With all of those languages, this is one of the best name pills you'll ever see from the vintage collection. But a beautiful unpunched example that I bought on eBay. I fell in love with it after I saw John Miko, who's the admin at the Vintage Collection group on Facebook. He showed one of these, I believe, in a live stream with Only-One Kenobi and Boss Bounty, and I saw it, and I was like, I gotta find one of those. And one did pop up, and I overpaid for it, I'm sure, but I think it was worth every penny. Let's take a look at the scoring here. It's scored at straight 90s. The card, blister, and figure all got 90s. And, oftentimes these modern figures usually will get 95s. But this one did, I kind of looked closely at it, and I did notice some kind of light paint app kind of scratches and things like that. Even inside the blister, these figures cannot be perfect. As, anyone who collects the recent Hasbro vintage collection releases, a lot of them do have very poor paint applications. This one just had some very minor paint defects that prevented it from getting the 95 score. I think if it had gotten a 95 for the figure score, it would have pushed it over into a 90 plus range. But anyway, that one did get a 90 overall. I am not complaining by any means, given how tough that is to find for that multi-language name pill Rebel Soldier. And then finally, to finish this video off, we have this one. This is another one I purchased on eBay. And it seemed like an overpay at the time, and it probably was. But given what Jango Fetts have done in the interim since I've sent it off to be graded, this is absolutely not an overpay. This is the Canadian Jango Fett VC 34. Absolutely beautiful. And again, this one scored 90, 90, 90, 90 for a 92.1. There were some paint defects around the shin here, or around the foot piece. Some right here, very light paint defects, scratches on the figure. So even from the time of manufacturing the figures, and then before they get inserted into the blister, they can get paint defects. I believe there was one on the helmet as well. I really look these over now just because I like to see what gets a 90 like this versus a 95. And this one, you can see some very obvious wear around that shin there, and right up here. So those kind of some very, very minute scratches can cause it to go from an 85 to a 90 to a 95. It just depends on how perfect the figure is inside the blister. But a beautiful Canadian version for Jango Fett. We documented on the channel an AFA 9.0 US card that sold for over $800. And this is the much more desirable Canadian card, as we've talked about on the channel, and as you experts have filled me in on. The Canadian cards like these were produced about one Canadian for every 10 US cards. So these Canadian examples, I think, will continue to hold their value just because they're so few in number. And even if they re-release these figures, which they've already re-released the Rebel Soldier, right? But if they re-release the Shock Trooper and Jango Fett, both of these are probably pretty good re-release targets, reissue targets. They'll never be on that Canadian card back like this. I mean, these card backs are very unique and will not, probably, I would assume, be slightly different than on the new re-releases. So I think that the Canadian cardbacks are a good investment, and that's kind of why I got them, is just to add to my Canadian run. But also I think that, in the risk of reissue, these Canadian examples are the way to go. Anyway, that's all I really had. I hope you enjoyed looking at all of these awesome vintage collection, as well as a couple of loose graded figures that I added from the Vintage Kenner line. I've got another box of a small order that should be arriving in the next month or so, so we'll take a look at those. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.